Today, I'm gonna show you how to register a 3-color print. And it's a very simple design that we're doing, but with this easy technique, you'll be able to do designs like this, this, and this. Pretty awesome, right? And it's really straightforward. We start by taping our film positive to our platen. After that, all our screens get aligned to that film. And then we start printing. Now, let's go break that whole process down. Come on. Welcome back to our series, Screen Printing from Start to Finish, Part 4. And if you want to catch up, I'm going to add the playlist up here. And if you're new to our channel, my name is Milo, and it will mean the world to me if you hit that like button. And yes, I'm sweating like crazy. Just look at the temperature. But no problem, we still got to work. You'll get used to it. Alright, if you've seen our last video, you're going to notice that all our screens are aligned and burned the same way. And I know that I said that I was only going to show you one technique, but I love you guys, so I'm gonna show you 3. But before we start aligning anything, we gotta get our center lines in our palette. And we have to return all our heads, all our press heads, back to the center, back to 0. Like I said in my last video, get a T-square ruler. It comes very handy. And it's really simple to get the center line on the palette. You grab the whole center of the whole palette, mark it, boom, just add a line in the center. That's it. Now, we want to print the design 3 inches from the bottom of the collar. So we're going to add a line here. And then we're going to add another line here, which is going to help us indicate where the print will start. Step number 2 is very simple. We grab our film positive and we line it up with the lines in our platen. And we want our design to start from this line. So we're going to grab the top of this design and we're going to line it up to the line, not the registration marks. The top of the design. And when everything is nice and registered, you'll grab some tape and you tape it. Grab some tape and you tape it. I would recommend to tape all 4 sides just in case something moves or anything. The easy part is over. Now let's start aligning the screen. If you notice our first video, when we color separate the design, we added registration marks to each color. That's gonna help us align each screen so all of them could fall in the same position. But we'll talk more about registration marks by the end of this video. Another thing that's gonna help you align your screens easier is gonna be to have a press that has micro registrations. It's gonna help you align the screen when you're off like by a little centimeter. Now, all my screens have registration marks and we're gonna line them up to the registration marks that are on the film that's taped to the platen. I always start aligning the center ones. These 2 right here, and little by little I start adjusting the rest until they all fall in place. And you want to add pressure here on the mesh whenever you're trying to align everything. You don't want to add pressure here because you put in ink, you're pushing the squeegee through the mesh, not through the frame. Whenever you're adding pressure into the screen, you kind of want to mimic the way that you're printing. For example, if you're pushing the ink, kind of want to push the screen a little bit up, slightly push. Don't try to overdo it. Me, I'm pulling the ink, so I'm doing the opposite. I'm actually pulling the screen towards me, and it's very little. Remember, it's slightly. It's crazy humid in here. I'm gonna take a 10-minute break, guys. I'm like sweating like crazy. If you want to lose weight, just start a t-shirt business out of your garage. Just look, I'm sweating from my shoulders. Crazy, right? We'll be back, guys. Alright, we're back. And before we start aligning our other 2 screens, let's talk a little bit about the off contact. What's an off contact? It's the space that you have between the screen and the platen. Since we're printing on a t-shirt, the contact that is required to have a good, successful print will be 1/8 of an inch, like the size of a quarter. If the off contact is too low, the mesh of the screen is gonna get stuck to the t-shirt whenever you're printing. You're gonna drop a lot of ink, or sometimes when you lift the screen right back up, it's gonna lift the t-shirt right with it. If the off contact is too high, then you won't drop enough ink into the t-shirt. So pay attention to this step because it's important. Now let's register these 2 screens. And here's a small tip whenever you're adding tape. Let's say we're gonna add tape to this side, right? When you grab the tape, you wanna make sure that it's not passing the frame. I see a lot of people that struggle measuring the tape. It's really simple. Whenever you pull the tape, just try not to pass the top of the frame. And it falls right in the perfectly. Now, if you want to put the side, just make sure that it passes the frame. Very little. See right here? It's not passing all the way. Just a very little slight pass. And it falls right in perfectly. That's it, we're done. Well, that's what we think. Now, we're gonna have to do a couple test runs to make sure everything is registered correctly. And like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm gonna show you 3 ways to test and register your screens. The first one is everything that we did right now, but we're gonna need a blank film positive that we're gonna add on top of the design. And as soon as everything is nice, we'll tape it so it won't move, and then we print. And let's just say that we're off registration. It's an easy fix. All you gotta do is spray a little bit of plastisol remover and wipe the ink off. And you can readjust again and again until everything is nice and perfect. The second way, the best way, the technique that I use the most is I do the same steps as the first one, but I test my print differently. I actually do it on a t-shirt because I actually wanna see how the print is gonna look on a t-shirt and how it's gonna feel. Now, if everything comes out great, then that's it. But if it doesn't, then I'll cover the design with some tape. And the clear tape is almost the same thing as the film. But to me, it's a little bit better because it sticks directly into the t-shirt. So whenever you're adjusting or anything, it doesn't move at all. It's like stuck to the t-shirt. And you can wipe it off again and again and again until everything is nice and tight. The third way comes very handy when you don't have or don't want to use the film positive. You start by aligning your screen to the platen. After that, you print directly onto the t-shirt. And you can cover the design with some tape, a blank film positive, or that decal clear tape. It works great as well. And it's the same process. Start aligning the screens to that print. That's it. Here's why I mention all 3 techniques, because every design is different. Some are very simple and some are very complex. For example, you're doing a 1-color print. You don't need your film positive. You can just register your screen directly to the lines on the platen. Second example, if you're doing a 2-color print, here's what you do. You grab your first screen, you line it up to your platen, and then you tape it off, right? Or film positive or whatever. And then you register that second screen to that design. You don't need your film positive. Now, when you're doing 3+ colors, you can start using your film positive to align all those screens. And I'm gonna give you 2 small tips that I wish I knew when I started printing. Whenever you're printing your registration marks, don't make them big like this. Try to make them small, because there's gonna be a time when you're gonna print a complex design, and when you have small registration marks, and let's say you're a little bit off, it won't be a big difference. It won't be noticeable. But if they're big like that, then it will be so noticeable, and it's gonna make everything harder to register. Second tip would be, if you want to save some stress here whenever you're registering, make sure that everything is done correctly from the beginning in the computer. So like that, everything will be easier here, because everything starts in the computer. If you want to have a great quality print, everything starts with a great quality design. Now, let's start printing. 3 colors, wet on wet. Pretty awesome, right? Now, if you want to support this small little business, I'm gonna add that t-shirt to our website. And I'm only making like 20. Plus, it's a good quality t-shirt, comfort colors. And in my next video, I'm gonna explain why I love that little quote, the sun shines on everyone. But anyways, hopefully this video was helpful in any way. Have a beautiful day, and God bless you all. Whenever you're I can get it, what's going on? Whenever you're adding pressures to the screen, you want to, just look at that. Tomorrow's gonna be even worse. Even at night. I was checking at night to see if I could work at night, but look at it. It's still gonna be hot. Oh my God.